If I saw another day, all we do is scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Darling, when you go away, won't be as simple for you.
I really need to change the intro, guys. Hey, guys. It is Old Man Chi here, back again with another Manchester United preview. This time it's Leicester United versus Leicester. Obviously, a lot to go through because a lot has happened today. Just so I'm just going to... There's always something. There's always something. I should probably tap. Yeah, there's always something. No way. Anyway, but in order to go into it, these are always how my lives work. Okay, start again. Before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, United X, and smash the notification button for the latest Manchester United news and more. Appreciate the ongoing support, guys. I am trying. I'm trying. My goal is at the very least to try and get to 5K by the end of the year. Hopefully by the end of March, things will be a bit more quiet, and then we'll focus and shift my content more towards watch-alongs on Twitch and YouTube here, as well as other bits and pieces of content of other people in the world. That is the plan. But hopefully, when things are sorted, that'll be the case. Also, check out the poll. Do you think Manchester United will win, lose, or draw? Make sure you vote in the poll as well. The first thing I basically want to say, because I wanted to discuss really before we get into the game, is this. Sir Jim versus Qatar. Obviously, this is the big story, because almost this Leicester game, I think, for a lot of people, is taking, press. How can I say? Is almost taking a back seat, not present, taking a back seat, basically, because essentially, sorry about this, guys. Essentially, United fans are wondering who is basically going to be the owner of Manchester United going forward. Who is going to be the owner of Manchester United going forward? Is it going to be Sir Jim? Is it going to be Qatar? Are the Glazers going? Are they staying? I don't know. I think that there is a lot of, obviously, division right now in the fan base between who they want off, and to be honest, I don't think it's particularly helped by the mainstream press. That have effectively, rather than been objective and saying, right, okay, this is this person. Because I think, well, okay, before I even go into the whole Sir Jim versus Qatar thing, I think one of the things to really stress is that these two are probably not the only bids. These two bids are probably not the only bids that are going to be going in. That's, I think, very, very important to stress. They're probably, because it was a soft deadline last Friday, there are probably other bids coming in, possibly from America. They'll say there are rumors from Saudi Arabia, etc. So it isn't the only bids that are going to be coming into Manchester United. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear or announce a couple of other bids that are coming into the club, towards the end of next week. Clearly, you'd think that Qatar, I mean, although they've said we're not going to overbid, it'll be held to ransom by the Glazers, given how they were able to obviously win the World Cup bid and all the rest of it. I would imagine that they're likely to get their way, so, but we will see. Essentially, what I'm saying is watch this space. Shout out to Matthew in the chat. Thank you so much. Biggest up. Really appreciate your ongoing support. Appreciate it, buddy. And Ant, who I think must be in Manchester right now, Manchester correspondent, and who I'm going to play because we recorded a video. Make sure you guys check out his channel. Ant's channel is very good. Leicester fan channel. Make sure you check it out. It's really, really good. Please do check it out. And subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. But I will play a video once I've kind of done my kind of preview thing of the side of things. I will probably play a video, our preview video, and this is basically me and Ant having a conversation about Leicester and what he thinks about the game. So that'll be coming up as soon as I've done speaking, basically. All the potential new owners have good. Yeah, exactly. And this is what I'm trying to say is that I feel like that's how it should be. That's how it should be presented. That's how it should be presented, Matthew. It's like, instead of saying, oh, this owner or these people are just solely bad and these people are solely good, I think what should happen is, okay, these are good points and these are the bad points. What do we know about? Like the way that's been reported in the UK, you don't even you wouldn't even know that Sir Jim Ratcliffe already owns Nice. Like, if you're going to make a comparison, look at the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe owns Nice, and PSG and the Qataris own PSG. Just deep that for a second. The Qataris own PSG, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ionis or whatever own Nice. And Nice were a bigger club than before the Qataris bought PSG. So what does that tell you? What it tells me is that, and I look at Nice and I speak to some of these fans, and they're not particularly happy with their owners. And that doesn't mean to say I'm saying that's going to happen to Manchester United, etc. But when I was hearing coming out of the club, not coming out of, I think it was Simon Stone that reported saying the whole thing about majority stake, and that potentially, Sir Jim would just purchase a majority and not the full 100% amount of Manchester United, potentially leaving the door open for the Glazers. There is no way any sane Manchester United fan will welcome Glazer involvement. It just won't happen. There's no way any sane Manchester United fan thinks that opening the door to the Glazers is a good idea. I don't think any sane Manchester United would think that, because regardless of what fences it's on, everyone is basically Glazers out, and I can't see how he would be popular if Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if you have a combination of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers. I think one of the things that I'll be telling you my bias here, because if it's just between those two, I would go Qatar, simply because when I looked at the two proposals, because the proposals are in public, so when I look at the two proposals, I look at both of them, promised, the Qataris were going to invest in the squad, we're going to invest in the academy, invest in the stadium development, all these things that we need. They've said that. When I look at Sir Jim's statement, like, if you want to do your research, it's actually not that much different to the statement he made when he submitted the bid for Chelsea FC. It's really not that different to the statement he made for the submission of Chelsea FC. It's not that different, aside from putting the Manchester back in Manchester United. What exactly does that mean? But no mention of clearing the existing debt, so that will still be there potentially, and no mention of any infrastructure investment into the stadium. So what exactly is it that, is it that, what is it? Is it just because the only thing I'm getting from his proposal is that we're just going to have a British billionaire own Manchester United? And I'm sorry, but the last British billionaire or multi-millionaire to own an English club was Mike Ashley, and he wasn't liked. So Britishness isn't a litmus test, in my personal opinion. Just to mention, I reckon Mike Ashley looks perfect. Not a United, no, not a United, not United, not a Manchester United, not Manchester United, not at Manchester United. I think that. Not at Manchester United. Maybe at Leicester. When you guys, I think that if we're talking about saving money, because people keep on saying that Leicester don't have money, I think from someone that saves money, you can probably bring in, those guys. That's what I would do. Bring in those guys. Those guys, the ones that, the truth. Those guys know what they are doing. They do. So just bring them in. If you can. I've heard the OG nice fans. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. It's like, but you don't see that covered in the press. It's like, oh, United fans definitely want Jim. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be pro one or the other, but you should at least give a unbiased opinion. Like, people look at PSG. Like, people, if you ask probably the average fan, people will know the Qataris own PSG, for example, but they don't know that Sir Jim owns Nice. It's like people say, oh, but what happens if PSG and Qatar, they have their own influences. Okay, but Nice is also a European club. Nice can also compete in the Europa League and win the Champions League. So what happens if United and Nice meet? Is the same situation not there? I don't get it. I don't get it. They're seriously unhappy about yeah. I've heard that as well. Qatar all the way. Apparently, Ineos are going to absorb the debt of success in taking over. Are they? And what does that mean? Are they going to absorb the debt because the impression I'm getting is that they're having to borrow in order to buy the club. So by absorbing the debt, are they putting it on the company? Are they? I don't know. It's an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, anything is best in the Glazers. I agree, but I'm still very much like I don't really know where this is going for United. I really don't. I just think that, and hope everyone can hear me. I just think that I certainly don't want to sit like if you're gonna buy a club on debt, and then you're promising that you're gonna somehow be able to bring the club back to where it's gonna be amid investment, etc., etc. I don't know how you're gonna do that. All I can see a situation is that we just have what we have right now. The Glazers it's just that he's British. That's it. So yes, sometimes we'll spend the same amount of money because United will obviously always generate money. So we'll spend a certain amount, but we're not going to spend loads. And Old Trafford will just continue to rot because it needs significant investment. The redevelopment of Old Trafford needs at least $1 billion. And I don't think Sir Joe Garrett's going to give that, but that's my personal opinion. We have money. We just built 200 million training complex. So Jim will rinse you dry like he's done in his well. That's the precedent, isn't it? That is the precedent. But again, like I said, I just find it interesting how no English journalists or sports journalists are mentioning his they're not. No one's even talking about Sir Jim's ownership of Nice. Like, it's not even coming into the equation. It's just he's British, he loves Manchester, and that's basically it. When you look at the summary of basically why people say he should put United is that he's British and he loves, and he's as a local guy is from Manchester. That's basically it. Nothing about how he plans to take Manchester United club forward, how he plans to remove the debt, how he plans to rent the stadium. Just he's British and he's local. I think United need more than the close-mindedness of the British press. Personally, that's my personal opinion. And taking on the debt from borrowing the money to buy. Yeah, exactly. Nice were a giant. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. It's like if you want a comparison, it's like both Qatar, let's say, and Nice own clubs in Paris. Paris, PSG were nothing 15 years ago. Were nobodies. Now, yes, we banned them, but they're still a big club. Nice were bigger than PSG 15 years ago. Nice were bigger than PSG 15 years ago. Yeah, I'm British and love Leicester. Is that what you mean? Apparently so. According to Sky Sports, apparently so. Apparently so. According to Sky Sports, all you need to be is British and support and be a local and support. That's apparently all you need. But anyway, I'll obviously keep you posted and updates with ongoing. I think this is going to drag on for a while. I suspect anyway that if there's any new ownership, it's not going to be until the end of next month. We will see what happens. Wait, what's this? Is this something coming in? Oh, right. Okay, no, it's just Samuel Lucas racist language or something. Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Sorry. There's just something about Samuel Lucas, but ignore me. Ignore me. Sign me up for Leicester. Yeah, go for it. Go for the win. Anyway, let's quickly move forward. Let's quickly move forwards. So why is that there? Why is that there? So um, before I play Ant's vid, because I'm sure Ant's in the chat, I want to just quickly go through my starting 11, and then I'll basically show the vid that me and Ant did, and then we'll get to going. So obviously, this is supposed to be United versus Leicester preview. I think that given what's happened today, this is going to be a very, very big game for Manchester United. Big game. I think, if we're looking at what's going to happen, I don't know. Clearly today, results plus or minus, I guess, favor United. I mean, I think if we're talking about top four, I think, of course, as far as top four is concerned, I think today's results benefited Manchester United. Well, I don't want to see Liverpool sniff top four. I really want to see Liverpool play Conference League next season. I don't want to see them in the top four. They probably are going to make it the form that they're in. But overall, I think I'm fairly, these results, help to solidify it. We are 5 points ahead of Newcastle in fourth now, and then that's 7 points ahead of Spurs in fifth with game hand. So, that solidifies things, I think. And then I know Spurs are playing West Ham tomorrow. If we were to beat Leicester and Spurs were to lose, then suddenly that's now 10 points behind. So you think the top four is fairly secure right now. City obviously dropped points as well. So even though I don't think United are entitled to a race, if United were to beat Leicester tomorrow, we would only be 3 points behind City, and only 5 points behind Arsenal. I bet, having played a game extra. Does that mean United are tied to race? I don't think so. Especially with the games that have come to play. But it does mean that United are probably closer to the top two than they are, to fifth or sixth right now. So it's at home. I am hoping for a Manchester United dub, but we'll go into the starting 11 in a second. AD says Liverpool are coming for top four. We're getting help at the right time. Knock on wood. Exactly. Liverpool are concerning me, I think, because they have. I think they have a game in hand over Newcastle, which if they win, they'd be only 3 points behind them. Newcastle have dropped off quite a bit. I bet that's probably because of Bruno Guimaraes being there. By the way, shout out to Liverpool, Newcastle, by the way, because I didn't realize that because Nick Pope has got a red, he's going to basically miss the final, and Dubravka can't play because he's cup tied because he already played for Manchester United in the competition. So Newcastle's third choice is Lloris Karius, man. United have to win that cup. I know Bruno Guimaraes is back going to be strong, but United have to win that cup. I don't want to see it's now pride now, because I don't want to see a situation where United lose a Carabao Cup final with Loris Karius in goal. That can't happen. Shoot on sight, do whatever it takes, just do something. So let's quickly just go into starting them, because it's 20 minutes and I'm not even put the start 11 on. So let me quickly change formation here. Just get your comments and stuff like that in, guys. It's appreciated. So in fact, I think it'll be more. How do I think it will be? I'll come to it. I might have to adjust the formation as I go, depending on who plays. So De Gea will obviously be in goal. I think that's obvious. I don't think no one has any doubts about that. De Gea is going to be in goal, and he's going to lead the line. Simple as that. Then I think centre back wise, it's a tricky one. Does he play Luke Shaw? Does he play Luke Shaw centre back again, and give Lizandro rest? To be honest, I think Lizandro hasn't played for about a week. I think you need to bring Lizandro Martinez in. Lizandro Martinez. Yeah, you've got to bring Lizandro Martinez in. You got to bring Lizandro Martinez in. You got to. AD says, shout out to AD man. Oh, by the way, AD. Hopefully, I'll be doing a Barca preview this week. Hopefully, I'll be doing a Barca preview this week. So hopefully, you and Ilias can come on. We'll do a Barca preview together. That would be good. Man U 4, Leicester 3. I want to see a shootout. Besides the Villa AS game, this matches today. Well, yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see, because Arsenal played today, Chelsea played today. It's only Spurs that didn't play today. So yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So other centre back, I think obviously will be Varane. Will come in. So Martinez and Varane. I think I guess there's an argument that, if you're going to play them, they're not going to play again until Thursday, and then obviously they've got on Sunday. Can they play these 3 games? I think Lizandro Varane might be an issue, but we'll see what happens. But for me, against Leicester and at home, I just think you should go with these two. Right back, Wan-Bissaka versus Dalot. It's always an issue one. I think that probably because I think that Wan-Bissaka should play against Barcelona from a purely defensive point of view. It's a difficult one. I don't know. I'm going to put Wan-Bissaka down, man. Nah. Give Dalot a go. Come on, give Dalot a go. Go get that. We need to alternate between the two. And I know that you can play Wan-Bissaka in all the games. I think you play Wan-Bissaka against Newcastle and Barcelona, and you play Dalot against Leicester. That's what I think anyway. And yeah, as AD says here, 2-1 to United. Matthew Harley Barnes would exactly. I think. You know what? Move Wan-Bissaka in. I'm going to put Wan-Bissaka here. Wan-Bissaka needs to be here. Shout out to Madrid, by the way. I think Madrid are cooking, which is good. Left back, Shaw. Okay, give Malacia a rest. Although I guess you could play Malacia. Then as far as the centre, this is where things get a bit tricky. This is where things get a a little bit tricky. He'll play Sabitzer, and I think he'll play Sabitzer and Fred as the two holding. So, because remember, Casemiro, this is his last suspended game. So he will probably play Sabitzer and Fred as the two holding, I think. Then Bruno will probably, it's not going to be as a forward. I think he is for whatever reason. I think he is persevering with Weghorst. Let's have a look. 2 seconds, guys. 2 seconds, everybody. Probably not. Okay, let me just switch that to 4-4-2. Why I'm thinking this is that I think probably what I expect will happen, although this 4-4-2 will be like a variant of 4-4-2, is that you're probably going to end up having Bruno on the right, like he always seems to be doing. And then probably so Bruno will be in midfield, but he will basically be edged to the right. You will probably end up playing is Anthony back? I don't think Anthony's back. I don't think Anthony's back yet. I don't think Anthony's back yet. So probably Sancho, who will probably end up coming to the left. And then, so basically, Bruno should be here, but he'll probably go to the right. Sancho will probably come to the left. And probably what will happen is that you'll have Weghorst, who will come. In the traditional number 10 position. And he'll play behind Marcus Rashford, who'll be the striker. That's from what I've seen, that's how we seem to be playing with this. Weghorst will come in here, Rashford will come in here, Bruno, who will be here, drifts out to the right, and then Sancho, who would be here, will probably be playing on the left. And I think that's probably how Manchester United will line up, but I could be wrong. Matthew says De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Shaw, Malacia, Sabitzer, Fred, Fernando, Sancho, Weghorst. So what we're playing? So Shaw's a left back, with Lisandro. I think what I would say with that is that Lisandro has not played for more than a week. He didn't play against Leeds. He didn't play against Barcelona. So I think you need to play him at least once before the. You can make an argument that he doesn't need to start against Newcastle, although I would. But he needs to play before the Barca game, I think. I think a player's now not playing for about a week and a bit, and then you're throwing him against Barca or Old Trafford. Personally, I just think that that's not like ideal in my personal opinion. But we'll see what happens. And Anthony is still out. Shaw left side is centre back. Sorry, no, yeah, Rashford or Ronaldo. Got that joke. Right, guys. Okay, so as I told you beginning the stream, for them, I actually was filmed the previous stream with Ant. So what I'm going to do is for the next probably 15 minutes, I will show you the video of Ant's Leicester City fan channel, which is really, really good. Please head over and subscribe to his channel so that you can get like the Leicester sort of side of things. This will be about 15 minutes, and I'll basically come back and end the lives, and then end the live. So stay in the chat, get involved. I'll be in the comments as well. So yeah, over to that. So do that. Ooh, sorry. Sorry, guys. I thought I had this. Of course, I've not got this right. All right. Okay. Cool. There we go. Let's go. Let's go, guys. My favorite Leicester fan, who is going to give his thoughts on the United versus Leicester game. So first and foremost, and thank you so much for coming back on the channel. Where can people find you? What do you do, etc.?
Yeah, so cheers for having me on again. So Ant's Leicester fan channel. So I do match previews, home and away match day vlogs with Leicester, and just general ramblings and moanings about Brendan Rodgers.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. Obviously, this is United vs Leicester match preview. And obviously, but I also want to get your take, your angle on what you think the game is going to be like. But before we get into it, first and foremost, I mean, Leicester they struggled this season. They have struggled, and I guess the big question in my mind is, are you Rodgers in or out? Are you Rodgers in now? Where are you now? Especially seeing what you did to Spurs. Do you see a way back? Like, what's going on?
I'm not like Brendan Rodgers, get out of my club right now, sort of thing. But I don't think he's the long-term right man for Leicester. But at the same time, like I don't see him being sacked anytime soon either. So it's one of those where I wouldn't be surprised if he's not here next season. If we got to the end of the season and then he goes elsewhere. But at the same time, he's at the moment getting it done on the pitch. But I've seen it too many times with him where we go through, we'll get like 1 or 2 wins and then go on another run of losing 4 or 5. So I don't trust him, if I'm completely honest.
And do you think that's because of the way that the ownership is right now? Like, is it more like a financial thing? Like, do you feel like the ownership is not in a position really to move him on? Like, he's just the more stable choice. Is that what it is?
I would say Brendan Rodgers is probably the least stable choice because he's a risk keeping him. Like, if it works, you've seen it. He can compete with the bigger clubs when he gets everything clicking. But when it goes wrong, it really goes wrong with him. And like all the financial stuff around Leicester supposedly being broken, all of that's been reported by pretty much every reliable journalist, but it's complete media BS. It was basically created around the Tielemans story of the fact that we couldn't afford to lose him on a free, which wasn't a Leicester couldn't afford to lose him on a free in terms of the fact Leicester's owners are broke, which are far from it. We Top, the chairman, who is the son, for you guys who don't know, of the our previous owner, Vichai, bless his soul, who died in the helicopter. That's his son, who's now the chairman of the club. Just last week, wrote off £200 million of debt of Leicester City out of his own pocket. So he's far from broke. He's just built a £100 million training complex. So, but it was within the rules of FFP that we couldn't sort of, if we lost Tielemans on a free, which there's reports of obviously in the summer last that was just passed that obviously he could have gone to Arsenal, and then it looks like unfortunately we'll be losing him for a free this summer. That's where the stories at Leicester of sort of struggling for money have come from. So they've taken a half a truth and massively stretched it.
So I'm just out of curiosity, because if the fear from Leicester was that they didn't want to lose Tielemans on the free, why didn't they maybe push to sort of or anticipate like I said, wanting to sort of sell Tielemans, almost like making him available? Did they do that, or what was the?
Just no offers came in. You can from what I believe to be true, from everything I've read from people like John Percy, who's pretty much the best reporter for the Midlands, is Leicester wanted Tielemans to sign a new term contract. He rejected that contract. But at the same time, Tielemans isn't in a hurry to move from Leicester because he's happy at Leicester. He's happy to see out his contract to the end and then see what options are available, because it gives him a better choice of clubs to go to. But if there's no bids on the table for Tielemans, you can't move him on.
Of course. And that's fair. Right. But that's very insightful, and hopefully, obviously, the viewers will be much more educated about Leicester in that respect. So obviously, let's go on to the game. Obviously, because it was last week you played Leicester, Spurs, was it?
Yeah.
Spurs. You did continuously investigated for how Spurs can go from beating City at home to being destroyed by Leicester Football Club. So, but do you think that going into this game, this gives this is because Leicester have also been quite inconsistent, but do you feel like recently Leicester have now, there's been a form change? Like Leicester are now almost beginning to come into the own as the season draws to the latter stages.
There is, and there's some sort of reason for that. It's not just all of a sudden we flipped a switch. So I'd say until the January transfer window this season, we've had to play Dan Amati at centre-back, who is our third choice right-back as a centre-back, because what that rat did in the summer and going to Chelsea in the way that he did it. Don't care, players leave Leicester, all the best to you, but don't force a move 2 days before the window shuts.
Yeah,
leaving the club in the position that they did, which basically meant we couldn't bring another centre back, which is partly why our defence was as poor as it has been for this season. Playing a third choice right back at centre back is never going to end well, realistically. Also, we didn't have a right winger because we talked about this on the stream earlier that we did tonight, but like financial FFP wise, we physically could not sign another player. So we didn't have a right winger, which meant we put Maddison out on the right wing. And whilst Maddison individually did very well on that right wing, the balance of the team was all over the place. Like Maddison, even though he was a right winger by sort of his position on a team map, if you actually watched him play, he wasn't playing on the right wing. He was so inverted. He was still basically playing his number 10 role, which meant that we had absolutely no balance going forward. So absolutely everything came through Harvey Barnes on that left-hand side. But Harvey Barnes didn't have an overlapping fullback. Luke Thomas he got scared when he got to the halfway line. So pretty much it was givable to Maddison and Barnes and hope for the best because we had no balance across our team. But now the big thing that has changed is the fact that now Maddison has come back into the middle, into that number 10 role. We've got a threat down the right wing of Tete. We've got Harvey Barnes on that left-hand side, who's a player who's massively starting to come into his own. And then you've also got Christensen behind him overlapping. So it's the fact that we've gone from having two players on the pitch that you're almost give the ball to, hope that they can do something. If not, we're stuck, to having players across the front three that can cause a threat. And then by playing Barnes and Tete, it means you can now play Iheanacho because he's got players that he can link up with. So Iheanacho, I rate Iheanacho as our best player, but he's a best player, but he needs to have the right players around him to be able to do it. If you're going to play Iheanacho with Maddison as an inverted right winger, it just doesn't work. But having players that can run off him, I think it suits him down to the ground. So the big reason for our change and turn in form in the recent weeks is Harry Suter, the signing from Stoke. I'm calling him our Harry Maguire region because I know you lot can't stand Harry Maguire. I absolutely love him.
We'll give him back to you for 40 million. Can you take him for 40 million at least? We'll give him back to you 40 million. Is that okay? You take that.
Take the zero off, and then we could start talking. But
take the zero off, we can start. Come on. He's Leicester through and through, and come on, he's Leicester through and through. Leicester lad.
Mate, he's been at United more time than he's been at Leicester, double the time actually. But no, anyway, I loved Harry Maguire when he was at Leicester. I know he's gone on to be a bit of a meme when he's at for you guys, but Harry Suter's so similar to what Maguire was when he was at Leicester, like those early days. You know, when he just signed from Hull, you could see what was there, and when he was playing with confidence, he was brilliant. Christensen, really young, raw left back, but he gets stuck in and he up and down the line. Like there's elements of his game where you think, yeah, you can tell that you're a young lad, but he's fearless. And it's I don't mind that. And then Tete, I really like him. He's a flair player. He's a player that sometimes he's gone missing in parts of games, but he's also got that skill that he can sort of in a moment sort of switch a game, which we saw against Villa. In a moment, he just turned the game on its head. So it's that is why I think there's been the upturn in form.
That's fair. Right, let's get on to the game. So predicted starting 11. So how do you feel that Leicester will actually set up?
So it will be unchanged, I think, from last week. So Danny Ward in goal, which I know people laugh at Danny Ward. He's not as bad as he's made out to be when you he had an awful start to the season, but then when you look what was in front of him for the opening sort of 5-6 games where he was massively ripped into on social media, he had Wes Fofana, who genuinely could not care less about being on the pitch and might as well have just sat down on the halfway line and said, I'm not playing. And Dan Amati, who's our third choice right back. So those opening 5 games, he was horrendous, but he's slowly grown into the role. Do I think he's a long-term solution as our number one keeper? No. Is he as bad as he's made out to be? No. I say that now, he's going to absolutely drop a howler and this can be clipped up and you're going to be calling me everything under the sun. But anyway, got Danny Ward in goal. Then is back four. Got Castagna. Ricardo Pereira still not quite back at fitness, so Castagna at right back's not a bad backup to come in. Then Harry Suter and Wout Faes as the two centre backs, with Christensen at left back. Then a midfield, it'll be a midfield pivot of a two with Kiernan Dewsbury Hall and Papi Mendy, with James Maddison then slightly more advanced in the 10. Harvey Barnes on the left, Iheanacho as the number 9, and then Tete as the right winger.
Fair enough. Okay. And obviously, those who are watching, you will see my my starting 11 in the show. So moving on from that, thank you for that, Ant. Score predictions. How do you see this game? This game ending, and how do you see this game ending?
It's one of those, like, a few weeks ago, I was dreading this run of games, like before the end of the January transfer window, because we've had Villa, which for us is a big game, local game away at Villa Park. Then followed up by Tottenham. We've got you guys, Arsenal, then Chelsea. So that's our run of games at the moment. So it's not exactly like what you would call friendly games. So a couple of weeks ago, I'd have probably said 4-1 United, and I genuinely believe that. But for a couple of reasons, I feel like, and I wouldn't be surprised if you do beat us. Don't get me wrong, but you've got to have that hope and that belief. If you don't have that, we might as well pack it in now. But I'm going to go for a 2-2 because there's a few reasons for that. We're playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, and there's a real good feel-good factor around Leicester. Also, you're in the midst of a huge... Well, you've just been to Barcelona on Thursday night, and you played what was a really intense 2-2 draw out there. You've got the second leg of that coming up, and you've got the Carabao Cup final coming up. We are your smallest fish to fry in the next week.
I don't. To be honest, I agree with you. I think it'll be a draw. And obviously, people see my score predictions. So, but you know, Barcelona at Old Trafford, and obviously Carabao Cup at Wembley. This is the game, to make. I mean, it's a difficult one because depending on how results go, United could be in a situation where if they beat Leicester, they're only 2 points from first. Now, I doubt. I'm fairly sure Arsenal probably will win, and you expect City to beat Nottingham Forest away, but you never know in the Premier League. And it is interesting because suddenly you're thinking, okay, well, if those results were to go in United's favour, is it not fair for you? Is it not reasonable for United to go and try and go strong, obviously, against Leicester and close that gap if they want to close it, if they want to be in a title race or not? Which I don't think they will, but we'll see. But you're right. Barcelona and Newcastle will. I think these United players are going to be very tired. Although certain players are coming back, Casemiro has been suspended for a bit and so on. So, but he won't obviously be playing for this game. It's the last game of suspension. But yeah, I would agree with you. I'd agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, given where Leicester are. Even though we're big at Old Trafford, you saw what happened with Leeds last week. Was it last Sunday? I think when we played them, we were not switched on for the first half and the second half. And although we didn't lose, we were punished. So, final question for obviously let you go, Ans. Where do you think Leicester will actually finish? Where do you think Leicester will actually finish?
I'm going to say, it's a strange one because I'll say 10th, but at the same time, there's such a little gap in between 10th and where are we? 10th and 8th. I wouldn't be surprised if we could scrape even 7th. And I know it sounds mad that there's a 9-point gap, but we've got a game in hand on all the teams. So hypothetically, we win that game in hand. You're 6 points behind. I wouldn't be surprised if we could claw that back. And then you start looking at European football next year, which is a very sort of different situation to a few weeks ago when the only European games we looked like we were going to be getting was Swansea and Cardiff. But now you're looking at it and it's starting to get that belief back that could we scrape 7th and potentially get European football. I'm going to say it's 10th, but I'm hoping we could finish slightly higher.
Fair enough. And thank you so much for coming on the show. Make sure you check out Ant's Leicester fan channel. It's brilliant content. Really appreciate. Thank you for those who are in the comments. Now we will continue with the live show. I'm back. Yes, I'm back. Yes, I'm back here. Let's go back to the stream. I don't know whether this is better than the whole kind of me with the banner work. Let me know. Let me know, guys. Let me know which one is better. Ooh, not that. There. Which one is it? Anyway. What have I done? What am I doing? I'm doing. I'll remove that. Okay, I'll remove that. Anyway, let me just I'll put my face on anyway. So guys, but anyway, yeah. So thank you, Ant. If you're obviously in the chat, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. And also as we begin to round things up, thank you everyone. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you are new. I really appreciate everyone for the ongoing support. I think there were just some questions in the chat, and I'll address them, and then that will be that. that will be the show. That'll be the show, guys. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. For those who are still watching, let's have a look here from the questions. So obviously, will Slaphead play tomorrow? No, he's a Leicester fan, so he won't. He's a Leicester fan, so he won't. Who replaces Rodgers at Leicester? I don't know, actually. If Potter gets sacked, then Graham Potter could. That would actually be like I think he'd be the type that would be good for Leicester, actually. Yeah. IJ says the stats nerd in me wants to see Nacho start 30 games for a team. He could score 15, 18 Gs. I know he's a passer too, just needs to work. Exactly. I think Nacho has always been underrated. I don't know what it is. But I agree. I think he has always been underrated. I read that. I see Amron from Sporting would be ideal. Fair enough. And thanks, Ant, saying get those likes up. Yeah. I mean, so at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think I gave my score predictions for this game, so I'll just quickly give my brief score predictions. How I think this game will end up working out. And I think, if I'm honest, I think. Again, oddly enough, I don't think we'll get a clean sheet. Oddly enough, I don't think that United will actually get a clean sheet. I don't think United will get a clean sheet. But I do think that we'll win. It'll be difficult. It'll be hard. It'll be painful. But I do think that we'll win the game. Leicester will press us. They'll make it difficult, but I still think we have the quality to win the game. I still think we have the quality to win the game. The midfield won't be a worry. Fred, Fred, pressing Fred will be a problem. I do think that means that Bruno needs to, this whole Bruno going to the right, I think he needs to be able to come back. I think that people seem to forget that Bruno often goes as part of the attack and often leads the midfield. A lot of people, talk about Fred, and it's fine. It's all good. But at the end of the day, Bruno, I don't want to cuss Bruno because I think it was fine, but I don't think people talk about Bruno's defensive work more. Against Barcelona, he was on the right, and it was leaving Wan-Bissaka exposed. Bruno doesn't track back as much as he should, and that causes problems. And I think that actually, when you have four players up there, and you've just got Fred and Sabitzer, it does leave the midfield exposed. So there has to be some defensive elements of Bruno's game, in my personal opinion. You have to have something like that. Otherwise, it'll just go all over the place. That's why I think that's what I think is important in this. Because if that doesn't happen, I think Leicester could potentially override our midfield and cause us problems. They've done it before and they can do it again. But I think we do have the potential to better attack. And by that, I mean we have an informed Marcus Rashford who I think if he gets the ball can cause a lot of problems. And hopefully no mistakes from Lisandro or Varane. Anyway, guys, remember, if you are new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, X. Smash that notification button. Have a nice day, and cheers. Dybala really scores only 12 minutes. I still wouldn't get him, Mega. I still wouldn't get him. But thanks, though.